politics and what background do you bring to the table at Fox?
So an alternative point of view. I grew up in a pretty political household, parents quite active, I think typical boomer liberal types. I grew up around old school liberal values, so I consider myself part of the center-left moderates. I have a podcast called Raging Moderates.
Sure.
So an angry moderate who wants to win elections and will go into any venue to talk about it.
Okay, so that's a great way to start. What is an angry moderate? Because it seems like an oxymoron.
It's all of us now, isn't it? I spend a lot of my time looking at the data and the polling. I have a background as a political researcher and pollster. I did a PhD in politics at the London School of Economics. But an angry moderate today, I think, is someone who understands the gravity of the moment that we're in and is laser focused on winning elections as the only solution to that. The system is set up a certain way, and that you have to get into the system, i.e. you have to win the seat or the election in order to be able to make any change.
And how do you see your role?
First and foremost, part of the table. But I see myself as part of a fraught and oftentimes friendly bipartisan ensemble discourse that very much reflects real life.
What's the virtue of you being the one out of the five, and what's the danger of it?
So the virtue of it is that you have an opportunity to have this tremendous platform, a huge amount of eyeballs on it, which is bipartisan. So we have 20% Democrats, 30% independents, and 50% Republican. And that's everything from a Romney Republican to MAGA. I get to not just make the Democrats' case or the Democratic Party's case. I get to make my case, which I think is a very sensible and logical blend of policy and humanity that resonates with people.
I grew up watching William F. Buckley on the right, and debating, somebody from the Black Panthers or William Kunstler, the lefty lawyer, or Allen Ginsberg or something. It was it was exciting. It was intellectually entertaining. What's the goal now? It doesn't seem things are more rough-hewn. Are you trying to persuade? Are we trying to entertain? What's the purpose? Why are you there?
So I want to win elections. I don't work for the Democratic Party. Democrats, when they're in office, elicit better policy outcomes for everybody.
So there's an idealism to it, not just
100%,
not just careerism. Yeah.
No, and I understand I'm on. We're entertaining, and you can't keep 4 million viewers watching it if you aren't entertaining.
There are a lot of people who watch either people on your show or Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham, and they can't believe that they're actually saying
it's an alternative reality to them.
Exactly. They don't really believe that they mean it.
Certainly have heard that. People ask, how much of what they say do they believe? And likewise, people have asked me, how much of what you say do you believe? And if you spend time consistently with me, you'll see the days when I'm railing against the party for something that I think is a mistake. I don't know how many times I can say, I think that blue city mayors should cooperate with ICE to turn over people who have committed crimes on American soil, not crossing the border, but once they got here. If you don't do that, then Stephen Miller gets the wind beneath his sails, and he goes after people who have been here for decades who work at a car wash. And nobody wants that. Donald Trump doesn't even want that.
You've talked to Trump?
No.
Never?
Nope.
You want to?
He's talked about me.
He certainly has. Donald Trump once came after you on Truth Social for citing some poor polling numbers, and he wrote this. Why does Fox News allow failed TV personality Jessica Tarlov to soil the five? Her voice, her manner, and above all else, which he says are a disgrace to television broadcasting. When you read that on Truth Social, do you feel terrible, or do you go, I like that?
No, I feel terrible.
Do you?
Generally.
Really?
My husband will try to gauge the reaction. He's like, can she see the value in her platform and her persona being elevated like this, hero to the resistance left, et cetera. And then I'm mostly in tears about it. Not that one in particular.
So what really gets to you?
What really gets to me is threatening my job.
I do like his show. I like all of your shows, actually. I'm glad Jessica's not there. Because I think, no, actually, I think your show would be better without her. But, who am I to say that? Isn't that terrible? I think it would be a lot better.
I think people who act as if it is not meaningful that the most powerful person in the world is personally attacking you are being dishonest. And I see no reason to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've shared that with my colleagues.
What do they say?
It's not nice. They also know that if you engage him, it just makes him stronger. Like, in The Little Mermaid, when Ursula keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
I do.
Sorry, I have a 2 and a 4-year-old,
Yeah.
so we're deep in the Disney trove. That's how I see Trump when he's being fed.
So when I have conversations with people in Congress, for example,
Yeah.
Democrats will always say to me, our Republican colleagues,
Yeah, behind the scenes.
they
can't believe
They
it.
can't believe it. They'll say this, that, and the other thing about Trump, but then they go pull the lever and they vote the way they do. Is that the same at Fox?
I think they believe what they say, or at least the core of it. I mean, one of the most important lessons that I think I've gotten from working in conservative media as a liberal is how angry they are at how life has been for conservatives when Democrats are in office. The Obama years just meant such radically different things to liberals and to conservatives.
Well, let's dig down on that. Somebody who's got a very high-paying job on Fox, who has all the privileges in the world, how have they been in some way injured by, say, the Obama years? What is the sense of resentment that they're feeling? I'm not battling back against it. I want to understand it.
Yeah. Something like not having the same kind of journalistic access, let's say, to the administration, favored outlets versus ones not as much. That what they do, which is giving voice to that factory worker and millions of people across this country, is not worth spending a few minutes talking to someone about that.
This is the crux of the matter. You're on an opinion discussion show,
Yes.
but you come, as I've watched you come well armed with facts and figures, and you seem to live in what many people call the reality-based universe. I think a lot of people would look at Fox's journalism about any number of big stories, whether it's election fraud, so-called, or January 6th, or any number of issues. And it's hard to credit that as real journalism as I understand it. How am I wrong?
Well, listen, I've been very clear and was all through, around January 6th and what it was. I call it an insurrection regularly.
Right.
Donald Trump was responsible for it.
And so did many people on Fox for a hot minute.
Yes, absolutely. Bill Hemmer, Brett Baier were on air.
But then they stopped.
No, they did. Well, they didn't stop. And you see Brett Baier and you've had Brett here,
I have.
has to defend the Arizona call to a bunch of rabid election deniers.
Would you say that Fox helps foment that denier?
That has been litigated. When people walk up to that line and, they're talking about, this thing or that thing that happened that might not have been big enough to swing votes, but there was something funny going on. And I believe the point of what I'm doing is to say, you just don't want to go there. Like, this is done. It's not only done and dusted, it can never happen again.
What have you learned more about conservatives by sitting in the seat that you do that you didn't know before?
On specific issues, I think that I have been able to see it from the other perspective. And a lot of liberals have gone through an evolution when it comes to, border security under Biden and things like that. I have learned a lot about people's pro-life views by being with genuine religious conservatives. And then I've even moderated the way that I talk about abortion to be more in step with, frankly, the European standard rather than when we just say safe, legal, and rare, because that sounds insane to people if you sit down and say that versus, can we have a conversation about a viability standard? Is that at, 24 weeks and then obviously exceptions for life of the mother? That comes from talking to people who have, deeply held beliefs that life begins at conception or that it has to be first trimester, for instance.
What can you not wrap your head around?
I can't wrap my head around thinking that Donald Trump has moved this country in a good direction, and that there are so many people who are willing to compromise what they know to be true about character and morals and all of these things.
I think
for
a
him.
lot of people share that with you.
I know, but it doesn't win elections.
No, okay, I understand that.
So
now,
that's like a me talking versus how
well,
I would advocate on
let's
TV.
leave elections alone for a second. You go to work each day with people who do that, who do find a way to say, oh, that's just him, or that's him being funny, or he doesn't really mean it. How do your colleagues, in your view, see that or have a kind of cognitive dissonance where they push it to the side? That's hard for me to understand.
I understand, and I think that we might have, frankly, a different idea of morality about how a politician behaves than they would inherently. They have found a way to make someone into a policy vehicle that they like and excuse the other stuff, and we are always looking for both. And also, people just think politicians are bad dudes.
Across the board.
Yeah, I mean, you would see those numbers over and over again. Faith in Congress, cares about people like me. Every institution has gone down in standing. Even fire departments are down 4% in approval. The people who
That's a
will run
stunning
into
fact.
yes,
Why would
because
that
I'm the
be?
data person.
Why would that be?
I think people just don't think society works. People don't trust doctors in the same way.
Right.
I mean, our insurance system in general is horrific, which is why you have people who would typically be part of, the moderate crew or the center left who are talking about Medicare for all now. Like a Ruben Gallego, for instance, right? And that's what I talk about when you talk about an angry moderate. It's a Ruben Gallego set of policy proposals, right? Where you say, yeah, we should all have health care and we need to close the border. And that's a good thing.
You're looking at the midterm elections, I'm sure, and you're also looking at a very fractured Democratic Party.
Yes.
You've seen Zoran Mamdani. You've seen AOC. They've emerged not only in their particular offices, but I would have to think that AOC, for example, is a lot more powerful than just the district that she's representing.
100%.
Yeah.
And she'll be even more when she's perhaps our senator and then maybe when she's a candidate for president.
How do you feel about that?
I feel better than I used to
Really?
about it.
Because she said no to DSA here and
She
there?
didn't say no to DSA. She has great instincts. She didn't touch Graham Plattner. She didn't endorse in that race. She wasn't running up to Maine, ready to stump for him. I don't know if it's because she was a bartender. That she was like, I know that guy.
Yeah.
She didn't endorse against sitting Democratic representatives here in New York. If it's an open seat, that's one thing. But she's part of a caucus, and that was certainly a nod to Hakeem Jeffries. I mean, I pay a lot of attention to her because clips of her are constantly used in conservative media, right? So it all makes her stronger. And it makes her resonant with people in an even more powerful way.
That encourages you or worries you?
I have gotten over being worried. I'm in full winning mode. And if the ticket ends up being something strange like Andy Bashir and AOC,
Right.
so be it.
So, Jessica, you, unlike me, you're sitting there in the belly of the beast. You're in the Fox building, News Corp building in Midtown. And there must be a lot of discussion, either on camera or more so off, about what the Republican Party and conservatism will look like after 80-year-old Donald Trump is gone. And what is your sense of that?
Well, first of all, I would like people to really promise me that he is going to be gone, because I believe Steve Bannon when he says we're exploring all of our opportunities, and how usually people telegraph what they're thinking or plotting with jokes.
And how would Fox cover that?
Don't worry about the coverage of it. The Constitution is clear. Jonathan Turley, Andy McCarthy, all the legal analysts, they would be on air telling you exactly what they thought, much like they did during the Mar-a-Lago raid.
They'd play it straight.
Of course.
Yeah. What is the
It's
conversation
the Rubio
about
versus Vance.
and where does that conversation go?
America First is a malleable concept.
Mm-hmm.
It can be
So we're
Marco
learning.
Rubio.
Yeah.
Marco Rubio's version of it. It can be J.D. Vance's version of it. They are just much more flexible than we are.
Jesse Waters, one of your co-hosts, recently commented on Pete Hegseth's plan to screen testosterone levels in the military, and he said,
I want these guys on it, but you know what's going to happen? The guys that don't need it are going to take it. To triple boost.
Right.
And then they're going to get out there. And women on base, you guys better be careful. Port calls, women in Asia, you better be careful. Because these guys are going to be wild animals, and you better watch out.
now you weren't on the panel.
I was not on the panel.
Lucky you. Do you talk to him? Do you say anything?
I did ask him when I came back, and he was like, of course I wasn't condoning rape. And you have to, reading that
Right.
and watching, if you were a consumer of Jesse Waters, you would
You'd get
not
it as
think
you would
that-
get it as pure comedy.
You might not think it's funny.
Right.
It wasn't. I would not have had a ha-ha moment
Right.
at that. I know that Jesse Waters doesn't think it's okay to rape people. And
Noted.
I think that it's certainly not something like I would have said, and that I know I have a particular style with Jesse. We're very combative, like siblings,
Mhm.
but it links to something that I think is core to this whole discussion, which is that people who like Jesse or people who watch Jesse a lot give benefit of the doubt on something like that and also know that he's not ill-intentioned. That has a life to it in the clip economy that I think might not in the regular viewership economy.
Do your table mates think that Donald Trump is corrupt?
I don't know. There is a very strong case that they make and have made on air that, well, he was a businessman, so this isn't like a politician making money. There's a lot of animus
That even
towards
stuns me. Yeah.
There's a lot of animus towards politicians that get rich. That they think that you told us you were a public servant. And so this idea now that the Obamas have houses everywhere from Martha's Vineyard to Hawaii or whatever they're doing, and that is out of step with who they told you they were. But Donald Trump never told you he was anything but a scumbag. I'm using scumbag, that's my word. And I think a lot about the initial premise of Donald Trump's candidacy, which is I can fix this because I'm the one who knows where all the loopholes are, right? I'm the one that knows where the bodies are buried in the tax code and maybe in real life too. And that carries a lot of weight.
Early days, who do you see potentially breaking out in the Democratic Party for the presidency?
I think it's going to be very hard for people to pick because I think the bench is so wildly talented. People are going to have a tough time choosing from every column but the left column because there'll be a moderate choice, right? And then there'll be a left-wing choice. And if it is an AOC, I don't really see someone at this moment that could take that mantle from her who is going to be as compelling to an audience.
Who's compelling to you?
John Ossoff is very compelling to me.
A Jewish guy from Georgia.
Yes. My husband would say, like, is this because you're upset that you married out? 'Cause he's Catholic. He's had great speech coaching, and he has got great writers who understand that what people want the most is anger.
Here you are in the other belly of the beast. You're, the liberal media establishment. As somebody who spends a lot of time at Fox, what do you want to kick us in the ass about? And say, wake up, you're missing this, this, and this.
I think that there's a lot of lip service to the various autopsies that have been done about the 2024 election, and people have their marching orders. We know that we're coastal elites, or we know that we talk down to people, and we're not going to do that anymore. But they don't feel differently about that. those caricatures are pervasive and still very powerful. And
Are they overcomable, or is it just something
I
that's
think
locked
so if
in?
the policies are good enough. I mean, people
It's
really...
about policy and not manners.
It is about deliverables. And you see that with Donald Trump. Now, they don't like him right now. I'm talking about the average conservative voter is mad. Not necessarily wouldn't tell you I hate Donald Trump, but they hate tariffs. They hate the war in Iran. They hate the self-dealing. They know Donald Trump is corrupt. I look back to the 2020 lines of argumentation about, why we needed Donald Trump out and what Joe Biden could provide. And it was a safe pair of hands. And I believe without COVID that Trump would have won re-election. And I wish that he
100%.
had. I wish we were done now because he, like Ursula, got stronger in those 4 years.
You really are into the
We're
Disney
really
universe.
into it. I could also do Beauty and the Beast. But, he established a cadre of advisors that understood the challenge. Like, Russ Vogt wasn't as powerful round one. Stephen Miller certainly not as powerful. Project 2025, not a thing, right? And so I hate that we gave them 4 years to take a sledgehammer to the country. And we haven't found a way to deliver our vision for the future in
Because
simple
we're
slogans.
too decorous, too mild.
I don't know. I mean, I have a PhD, so I get it. I get why it's interesting to write a big policy paper or, dig deep into, what happened. But for me, it's just give me the bumper stickers. Where's your no tax on tips?
Mm-hmm.
But we, like good liberals, I think have ingested all of these learnings and have yet to spit something out that can win an election on our ideas and our merits and not just not being the other guy.
Jessica Tarlov, thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.